Changeville's Authenticity Podcast. I am your host, James James Thompson, and I am bringing on a guest that is an amazing person, Nekohl Johnson. We are coming to be whole with Nekohl, okay? At the Changeville's Authenticity Podcast, we transform your being by stepping into authenticity. Get ready to unravel, walk in freedom, and renew your own spirit. Becoming authentic starts with walking in your truth. May the life that you live be an example of how you show up in the world. Our mission here at Changeville's Authenticity Podcast is just that. CHANGE is the method used to transform your life. Change your mindset. Humble your spirit. Aim to achieve and accept your life accordingly. Be nice to others. Be grateful and have an attitude of gratitude. Empower others by telling your story. We are coming to be whole with Nekohl. Yes. Let's go. Welcome, Nekohl. Thank you for joining us at the Changeville's Authenticity Podcast. I want you to go ahead and introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about you.
Okay, thank you for having me, James. My name is Nekohl Johnson, and that's spelled Nekohl Johnson. I'm a military veteran, wholeness advocate for mental health and trauma, encouraging people to be healed and whole from any past experiences, any traumas, or anything that's holding them back. So I'm very happy to be here.
Thank you, Nekohl, for being here. In case you all didn't know, I've been knowing Nekohl for quite some years, right, Nekohl? We met at an organization that we both were leaders at. We hit it off very well. I am just grateful to have her come on and talk about what it means to be whole. When I met Nekohl, she was whole anyway. She was just honest, authentic. She just that type of person that you would like to meet, a team leader. She helped me with anything I came to her about. I mean, in spiritual, physical, mental, writing, whatever it was that I needed help with, she was the person that assisted me in it. So, Nekohl, let's talk about what it means to be whole with Nekohl.
Okay. Well, it took some work, and it continues to take work for me to maintain this wholeness. It's an evolving venture. It begins and it has no ending until we're no longer here. So you can be whole each day, starting off like Paul said in the Bible, I die daily and I wake up again in the newness of life. Behold, Nekohl, actually the title came from my daughter, because the actual name of the organization is NCJ, I Am the Map. And that has its own meaning. It's like my initials and the marriages that I've had and the journey that I've been on. And my daughter said, Mom, you're not going to be able to explain that to everybody you talk to. You need something a little bit more catchy. What about Be Whole with Nekohl? And I'm like, why didn't I think of that? But that's something that I have to live up to. And living up to that means taking care of myself before I take care of others, which is huge for me because I love community, I love people. And I realized that not only was I not living in a whole kind of way, I was putting other people before myself. So when that title started, when I started using that title, I was challenged by it. You know how God is anyway. You're not going to just confess something and not go through what you need to go through to maintain that. So the way it started is I'm a veteran, like I said, and I entered a whole health program at the VA. And they have their will. And I started researching these wills, and I was like, I'm going to create my own will. I didn't realize that there are so many wills, wholeness wills, all kind of economical wills and all of these things. But the VA had one that pretty much represented different facets of life. So I decided, okay, I'll use this wholeness wheel. I went through my wholeness training and was feeling good about myself. Then I realized that what they had created was not specific to the things that I believed in. And I decided to create a custom wheel for myself. I wasn't thinking about others at the time. I was just thinking about I need to put core values and dimensions of wellness that relate to me because of some of these things I don't even believe in. So I decided to create my own will. And then I thought about Ezekiel's will in the Bible. I'm like, I'm going to put the North Star in the middle of mine, represent my compass, who is Jesus Christ. So I'm all
Mhm.
excited about my will until I had to start living that will. Each
Yes.
girl, when I made scored myself and rated myself in those different areas, I realized that I had gaps. I had been giving the community most of my time, which was an avoidance strategy so that I didn't have to deal with myself, which was huge.
Oh,
So I had
interesting.
to, yes, I had to sit and be with myself, which sounds so easy. I love myself. Oh, it's all about me. But until you have to look in that mirror, look at your eyes, look at your nose, look at your mouth, look at your teeth, different parts of your body and mind, and deal with those gaps, those holes, those past experiences who are making you think that who you currently are today is who you're supposed to be.
Mm.
It's the business of being whole. It's not something we just talk about. You hear people talk about it, but even for me, it was just this outside thing. I'm gonna make sure my bills are paid. I'm gonna make sure I eat, exercise a little bit. Oh, I need some balance here or there. Until those challenges started coming up and I didn't understand where they came from. So being whole is internal and external. So I had to reach in and find some internal resources that I could use for those mental and psychological issues I had to deal with. How was I going to be whole on the outside if my inside was all crumbled up?
Mm.
So there was. I started going through the process myself and decided, okay, this is never going to stop anyway. I may as well incorporate this into my life and help others to do the same, which is where the wheel came from. It's a whole program, pun intended. It's a whole program. And like I said, it's forever evolving. The great thing about this custom wheel is once you created it, once you've taken time to find out your core values and the things that are important to you, as you evolve, your will can evolve because it's your will. Take out one thing, put something else in. Once you've mastered one thing, change it up. It's a very good process, and it's not something that I sell you so that you will have to keep coming to me. No, I give you this, you use it, and you create what you want to from it. So it's a very good process, and I continue to use it right now.
This is excellent because, Nekohl, in the world today, a lot of people say they know who they are, but they really don't because a lot of people haven't spent time alone with themselves. They need a army to manifest. They need to look at quantity instead of quality. Um, I observe a lot of individuals in the world, and people say one thing, but your action speaks louder than words. A
That's it.
person who love themselves and begin to know themselves, they like you said, take a look in the mirror and see what they're trying to portray out to the world on who they really are. Is it consistent
Yes.
with who you are showing up in the world to be?
Yes.
And I tell a lot of people, like, people can see through who you really are. You can put one area of your life on Facebook, but how you
Mhm.
show up in the world, your
That's it.
energy, how you interact with people, how you deal with people, it shows a lot. A
Yes.
lot of individuals that I know is built on quantity instead of quality.
That's it. Yes.
And part of life is all about networking, but learning how to build relationships with
Yes.
others. Now, I have multiple, like I tell them, I am who I am. I know who I am. I am James Zetta James Thompson. I am a justice seeking individual. You will find me on those types of platforms, forums, fighting for the rights of others. but I had to do internal work to get to this place today. Okay. I had to learn how to love me to teach others how to love me. And
Mhm.
if I didn't love myself, nobody would show up and
That's
love
it.
me. So I'm grateful when you say the steps that you had to take to wellness and being whole, and not putting others before yourself at times. You have to take care of yourself to go out there and take care of the community. So that's really good. This wheel that you've created now, being whole with Nekohl, is this is part of your organization and how you teach people to get
Absolutely.
where you are in life today,
Mhm.
because we got people that need some help.
Absolutely. And the help doesn't stop. And yes, I use the will to help guide others into a process of wholeness and wellness. It's I guide them, but actually, this is something that's an individual thing. I'll give them the tools, but just like everybody else, you have to use those tools and make them work for you. I was guilty in the past of wanting somebody to fix things for me. I just pay you. Can you just do it for me? I don't have time to do this. But this is not something you can pay somebody to do. It's going to
Mhm.
require your work. It's going to require you to put in time for yourself. To add to that, I created a application called Time in a Day, which is when I
Mhm.
realized I was giving so much to the community. Basically, it's an outline of how we spend our time 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, in the calculation and application that's also custom. So by using that time in a day application, I'm able to realize how much time I'm spending and what I'm spending time on. It just goes on and on. The time, the money, currency is resources of any kind, your time, your money, your energy. So once all those things are established, you can imagine how much time that'll take. It's not something that happens in an hour in one meeting. It's not something that happens even in a month. It just continues to evolve. And it's not always a pretty process because we'll find things out about ourselves that are ugly even to us. And it's not going to change overnight, especially things you've been doing for 25, 50 years. But change is possible. And I have to tell myself that too, because when I found some things out about myself that I wasn't too happy about, especially with my mental health, I didn't realize that. I mean, I was good, happy, all these other things, but so much was hidden that I hadn't addressed. And to sit and have to deal with that was something I did not want to do. So I found myself spending a lot of time with that. And after avoiding some things for so many years, I had to sit and face it and deal with it. And that same thing will happen to everyone. And it doesn't mean that you have a mental problem, it just means that there are issues that need to be addressed involving the mind. And it's a difference between having a mental problem and dealing with things and issues involving your mind. Because we have health problems, money problems, so that's what people like to call them. But actually, these are issues that deal with your health, issues that deal with your money. It doesn't have to be a problem unless you make it a problem. So it's just a play with words, but actually, your words have power. And one big thing about Behold with Nekohl is affirming great things, using I am as an affirmative to make things happen in your life. And so it's a working process. It's something I have to deal with every day and continue to talk to myself and tell myself, but being whole is my goal day by
Oh
day,
yes.
doing what I need to do to be whole. And with the will and be whole with Nekohl, when you find those gaps and you fill those gaps, then that's done. Until that wheel turns to that area again, you can move to something else, kind of fill that in. And so not only do I use that process, it's actually in the book that I wrote as well. Same
Mhm.
thing. The will is included and a lot of things that I've gone through and how I survived them, and then tools in the end to use in order to maintain that balance. So it's a process, but I'm working it.
You're absolutely working it, and as we grow, I heard you say that this process requires reflection. It requires reflection for you to be honest as well
Yes.
with yourself and reflect. And when we find out through this process, there is some things that is not going to be always good. Like I'll just point out, for me, I create control mechanisms like all over my house. Like, oh, take your shoes off. Oh, I'm sorry. You need to put the remote right here. Oh, everybody take their clothes off. But it's a way that I control my environment because sometimes I can't remember everything. And I create these mechanisms to make me remember. And
Mhm.
people like, oh, Jesus, I don't want to do that. This is too much. You got to take your shoes off right here. But it's a way, I'm not doing that purposely, but it comes off to others like, oh, you got to take your coat off right here. Oh, please don't put your purses right there. It's like, what, girl? What's wrong
You know what I've learned about that, James Etta, because I have some things I still do, some things I passed on. But what I learned about that and the people that we deal with, the people who genuinely love and care for you understand that this is
with
what you need to do at this time to feel good about the circumstances around you. So yeah, I have some of those things too, and I switch off. You know, when I'm trying to be good, I might not, I might just look and try not to say anything. But the people who love and understand and appreciate you understand that this is a part of who you are. Some things have nothing to do with being whole. They just are who we are, you know, or who we have become. Not all bad. And furthermore, we can't change everything at one time. We can only deal with the things, the low hanging fruit, the things that are affecting us day by day and stopping us from being able to progress. And so go ahead with your blank, blank, blank behaviors. It's okay. I'm not going to diagnose you, but it's
And I
okay.
love it.
That's what makes you who you are. And I'm sure the people who around you love you and appreciate you for it.
And I really, really love it because you're right. We learn through this process who is really for us, who is really with us, who is faking the fake all the way through, and who is truly against us. The people who really love you is going to stand by your side and they know that is a part of your personality and character, and they're not going to take it personal.
That's
I'm
it.
outspoken. And if there is any issues, I you definitely I'm gonna be the one to speak up. We will speak up. And I know you will always speak
Definitely.
up.
Definitely. I will speak up. I will communicate effectively,
Exactly.
writing, speaking, in any way necessary. We have that in common, James Adam.
Oh yeah, we always did. And that's the one thing I loved about that kindred spirit of yours. Keep it. We have to have people like this in the world because if we don't, it just won't be a better place to live. We
That's right.
have to challenge the world on what they're doing. But you have this amazing book that I've already got. A Queen Was Born Again. I want you to let us know a little bit tidbit of this book and where they can purchase this wonderful book from. I'm already writing in my book.
Nice.
I am so proud of you. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Girl, you doing it. I'm telling you,
Thank you.
you helping me. So thank you for writing this book. I am truly inspired by it. So tell us a little bit about your book.
Okay. A Queen Was Born Again started off as A Queen Was Born. And I had to be born again. And when I wrote A Queen Was Born, I thought I was done. It was about 3 years ago. I wrote it. I started writing in March. I was turning 50. I said, oh, I'm going to write a book for my 50th birthday. It's going to be a memoir. I was so excited. So I wrote the book, did a brain dump. It was about 300 pages. And I said, okay, good. Um, when August came, that book started hitting me left and right. Everything that I talk about that I had to use as tools, I had to use between 50 years old and 52 years old. I'm telling you, I went through it. And I believe that God was telling me, you're not going to put a book out saying a queen was born without really understanding that you have to live this thing. So that born again happened after I realized that what I had gone through the first 50 years was me being born. But between 50 and 52 was the real born again. so what it started off as, one, I realized I had issues dealing with my mental health at the facility that we worked at together. I started having these episodes where I would lose time at my desk. And without going through that, because that's another program, I was having migraines and a lot of other things related to stress. So I had to deal with that medically, psychologically, make a lot of changes and everything in my life. So I felt like with everything that I've gone through, I can tell people all these great tools that I'm using. And I started navigating through my life and realized that I had gone through so much trauma that I didn't even remember about. But going through my life, starting at the age of 0 to 7, 7 to 14, 14 to 21, 21 to 28, all the way through to 50, I realized that there were so many traumas that I just didn't remember about. So many that when I gave it to the first publisher, she said, okay, Nekohl, we're not going to put everything in the book. Let's just choose which ones you want to talk about, because the purpose of the book is to help people become whole, not to fill them with the traumatic incidents in your life. But I hadn't thought about it because I had gone through it. So I hadn't thought about it. But when she read it, she was overwhelmed. So I did go back and trim the book down to probably about 140 pages. And what I decided to do was wrap the traumas around great things like scripture, psychological references, opportunities for people to gain tools and reflect and reframe. I put a few questions in it so to have people to be thought provoking, so that people could possibly write their own memoirs or go through their own stages of life. So that's the way it started. And as it went on, James said, I just went through it. I went through a thing to the point that it took me 2 years to 2.5 years to actually publish the book. And probably half of the tools that are in the back of the book, I learned them while I was writing the book because I had gone through, I got hit so hard. And that's why I decided to add that again to it, because not only did theater teach me that you can see God in more ways than in the church, going through taught me that I had to be born again. And it might happen again and again and again, whatever it takes for me to become the best version of myself. It's like getting baptized 7 times. I'm going to keep going down into this water until I'm clean. And so that's basically what it was. The book was a challenge. I'm glad it's done. When I went and read it after it was published, I was still surprised by a lot that was in it. It was a journey. I'm excited that it happened. I have started writing my other book because of with those 300 pages was another book in there. So that book will be coming out maybe sometime next year. I don't know, because if I have to go start going through cycles, because I wrote a book about cycles, it may take a couple years. So I'm not going to put a date on it. But that's how it came about. I'm excited that it's here, it's done, and I'm just trying to work through some programs so that I can incorporate it into my trainings and teachings that I provide for the community.
Nekohl, that's really, really excellent. I want to say thank you for coming on the Change Bills Authenticity podcast. I want you to sum it up a little bit and let me know what changed you to become authentic and all of this that you've been through. But if you can sum it up for a little bit so people can really get down to start somewhere, what would you leave the world with?
Oh, wow. What changed me to cause me to become authentic is putting myself first, choosing me first, finding out what I like, what I want, the things that I prefer, setting boundaries and saying no, and let my no be no. So that's the biggest thing that's changed me. I'm excited about this opportunity, James. This show is great. Thank you for bringing me here. I hope to come back again and talk about other things. And I do want to tell you that I'm proud of you and the things you've done. So thank you very much. You can purchase the book at Nekohl.com/shop or on Amazon. A Queen was born again. Thank you so much, James.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nekohl. This is the Change Bills Authenticity Podcast. Be whole with Nekohl. Just like she said, she left you with that book. I need all the listeners, the subscribers. Go like, go share, give me your comments. Until next time, this is Change Builds Authenticity Podcast. Thank you for watching today.